In, ready.
Hello, guys. Welcome to another day, another race on Asseto Corsa Competizione. Today, I have with me DJ, who is going to be streaming, myself, Washing Coordinator, and alongside with me in the commentary is going to be Quantum. Hello, guys.
Good evening. How are you?
Oh, I'm absolutely fine. I hope the viewers are fine as well. Today,
Yep.
in the race weekend, we have called Ricard. It's not a highly regarded track in terms of racers, but with that being said, we're going to be moving on to the hot lap given by our very own IRC Ghost.
So let's jump on board the Bentley Continental GT3 2018 for a lap around the Paul Ricard circuit. Now as we approach turn 1, finding our braking point around 100-meter board, hitting the apex really slightly, making sure the rear end doesn't catch out, avoiding the yellow curbs on the left hand side and heading straight towards the next set of corners. Again finding the brake marker around 100-meter board, heading straight towards the apex. Hit the apex as hard as you can, stick close to the left hand side of the track and onto the first gear. Hit the apex. You want to carry out this corner as smoothly as possible. Get the power down early for the main straight. Very important corner. Now unlike the Grand Prix track where there is a chicane about the middle of the main straight, we head straight towards one of the fastest corners in this track, keeping it tight towards the left hand side and searching for the start of the curves where we tap onto the brakes slightly, smoothly enter the corner. Be careful not to overshoot the brake markers or you will be invalidating your lap. Braking at the right hand side pole, heading towards the orange mark on the left hand side barrier and hitting the apex cleanly onto the next set, braking at the start of the cones, wide entry, let the car flow, be careful of the markers on the right. And approaching the next corner, hit the brakes as soon as the right hand side brake markers disappear, flowing through the next set of corners and first gear to the last corner, careful not hitting the apex too much, and we land back onto the straight for a full lap of Paul Ricard.
That was a lap by our very own, our very fast racer IRC Ghost, and we are already a little bit late, running late, and we have joined free practice with 14 minutes remaining. And Casey on a lap, these guys might want to capitalize on getting a few more laps in, getting used to the track because you can run wide over here and still managed to get positions on the drivers. And with that being said, we have jumped into qualifying. We have 11 drivers today, and we're waiting for the drivers to come out of the pits. While we wait for them, Quantum, it's your first time commenting for ACC. How does it feel?
It feels amazing. Like I never thought I'll be able to do this, but thank you guys for having me. Thank you for giving me the chance. Like, uh, like I never thought that I'll get into the game and I'll get this opportunity. But yeah, thanks a lot. Like everyone who has helped me get here. Special mentions to Anirudh and Dipanshu and all the others, and especially like Dipanshu who listened to me the last day. And yeah, thanks for having me here. So, cutting it out, what do you think of the track? Let's hear your honest opinion.
I don't like this track at all. I might be the sore thumb over here saying I don't like this track. I might get a lot of flack for saying this, but that's straight up. I just don't like this track. It's not fun for me. There are a lot of long straights, and I don't know. It's something weird about this track, and I cannot point out what is weird about this track. But what about you, DJ? DJ, you were a fast boy in season one, and you were quick. What do you think about this track?
Personally, I didn't like this track too, but it was fun to drive around this track.
So
And
honestly, if you ask me, I neither like this track nor hate this track. So what I take away from this track are the extended limits. Like especially you can see right now in this section where the track extends from the blue ribbons onto the second asphalt grid. So what happens is people usually outrun those while they are racing, and in qualifying you get a good time on that, but what happens during longer stints is you lose a lot of tire wear. And another thing that I hate about this track, not hate, I wouldn't say exactly hate, but something I noticed was the GT version of this track uses the longer straights compared to the F1 version. So the last longer section, the long straight, in the F1 version there is a kink on the left hand side, but the GT cars for some reason don't use that. I don't know why, or like why they didn't include that, but like there are subtle differences here and there. And for me, honestly, I never liked this track, never hated it also.
And while you were saying, we see Casey completely cut the first corner. Well, we are on board with Sidhu. Casey going wide so that Sidhu can pass, and Sidhu on a hot lap. On Paul Ricard might want to go for a banker lap because track evolution is going to play a vital role in people putting in a solid of a lap, and it's going to be a 1 hour race. So the higher up the grid you start and the better start you get, you can pull away and get a very, very good advantage. Sidhu going on to the long straight where you can literally just sit back, relax in car, and let the car do the talking for you.
So one more thing about this straight is it gives you a lot of opportunity, especially cars which are being towed. Like they will have that upper hand right at the end of the straight where they can easily dive bomb and take a position. What do you think about that? Is it something that you think will happen a lot during this race, or something that only like people who know their way around the track will be able to do that?
I mean, you're gonna have drivers of all skill level today. So some are gonna believe that they have what it takes to send it down the inside and hold that line, while some other drivers who have a lot of experience racing since season one, racing with people who just send it on every corner, they'll know how to defend. So I think we're going to have a very balanced race of sending it on the inside and playing it safe.
So coming to the cars, like we can see there are two Ferraris, two Audis, and every other car you have like let's say you have two McLarens, right? But there's only one Mercedes. Like, isn't that the car which is kind of fastest in this track? That's what I know as of right now.
When Babaji, Richard Gyan, crashed out in the previous race, we invited him to the commentary podcast channel and we asked him what happened and asked him how the car felt. And he mentioned that the Mercedes is a little, I don't know, weird and wobbly and very, very tough to control. But looking at different cars, you can also see the different liveries people are running along with. So you've got the factor you mentioned, fast cars, but you also have the factor of liveries. I mean, I know liveries don't make you quick, but wow,
But they
do these
do
cars
make you
look cool.
So
Yes, they
here
do.
we can see Ghost running the the synonymical Porsche Gulf livery. Like you can, this is one of the most iconic liveries from the 90s up till what you can say the end of 2005. This was literally one of the most iconic liveries in Le Mans. Like you can see 718s with these. You can see even today's 995s being colored like these. like this is one of the best liveries, and the color scheme of this is amazing and outstanding till date. And then
That
we
is
have a
true. That
Ferrari
is
in
true.
our color.
Yeah, the Ferrari running the Indian tricolor looks absolutely
I
beautiful.
so the best thing what this guy did here, he painted the wheels blue, which is a very subtle touch, but it pops out. Like if you know, like if a person knows like how a flag looks like they will immediately recognize it. Like yes, the wheels play an important role here. They are not like randomly colored blue.
That is true. And now we have a lot of drivers setting up a lap. We have Dwarkanath, who is 600th off from uh, Ghost, who set a 155.9. And then P3, followed by Prakhar Watts, who is 1.2 off the pace. Sidhu running the Ferrari 1.4 off. KC66 running the Bentley 1.7 off. D. Joseph, the fan favorite last race weekend, the fan favorite today looking at the chat box, is running 2.076 seconds off in the Audi. He's still on track. He might have what it takes to improve as he's already up 1/10, but he needs to improve 3/10 or above to get a jump on KC66. Then we have Sajid running the Nissan, uh, I believe 5 seconds off the pace. He is, I believe, exiting the pits or entering the pits. He is entering the pits. All right. He did not have a very good race weekend in Kyalami, spinning out a lot of times and almost crashing into Prakhar Watts as Prakhar Watts turned into the first sector.
The
We are
only GTR in the track. Like that's amazing. Like kudos to the guy who's driving the GTR on Paul Ricard. Like pretty much the fastest car around this track, if you take my opinion, just for the sake of top speed and like the way this track is designed, you can easily get to that. And followed by the McLaren and the Ferrari and the Porsche. I think these four cars, if you can drive them in the right way, if you can set up them properly, so like these four cars can dominate this track. Like according to me, these are the four best cars for this track right now. I do not know about the Bentley. I have never drove it. I have never seen a lot of people driving it around this track. And regarding the other cars, I do not have much knowledge, especially the Mercedes. I have seen people driving the Mercedes. It's kind of fast, but I'm not really sure whether it will be fast. Like also what you mentioned was like you need to set up the Mercedes correctly, or it will be a lot wobbly compared to other cars. And we still have two people who are yet to set a lap. K. Bharat and Aladdin. Okay, that's a very long name. It took me some time to read.
Your question regarding the Bentley. Yes, the Bentley and the GTR are quite bulky cars, but then I'll let you know that the season 1 winner of ACC was Ghost, who won the season in the Bentley. And the last race, which was held in Kyalami, was also won in the Bentley. So don't take the Bentley, the wide-bodied Bentley, or Boatley, as some people like to call it, light. It's a very, very competitive car, and if your driving style suits the car and you have a very good setup, it's a race win for you, no doubt about it.
Yeah, honestly, when it's not raining or it's like very lightly raining, like the Bentley can give you the win if you set it up correctly. You're very correct about that, because like the last experience I had with the Bentley was the leader and the second guy who were like 10 seconds ahead of the pack, and it was kind of shameful for every one of us who was racing in that race. So yeah, the Bentley is quick. Honestly, it's very quick if you set it up correctly again. But do we have any other cars in this race? Like we can see just a few handful of cars out of the entire lot. Are there any Evos, like any the new pack, the 2020 pack? Are there any cars from the 2020 pack? I don't think so, right?
I believe Richard Gunn is running the
Richard
new
Gyan, yes,
Evo.
he's
Yes, he is running. He is running the
running
Evo. He's not running the old Mercedes. He's running the new Evo.
So this is one of the best cars right now. Like the moment I got into this game, people were like, dude, just go, spend this money, you will never regret this. Like, so what I did was I drove the old Mercedes. I never really liked it. I switched to the Ferrari, and I'm kind of comfortable with it right now. But what I have seen is the Evo is blisteringly quick if you drive it correctly.
That is true. That is true. As long as you're comfortable with the car, you can push it. And just like how Babaji, Richard Gyan is pushing, he's already 5 tenths up on his lap time. Going into the fast onto the long right-hander and then going left onto the long straight after turn 7. Heading into turn 8, it's gonna take us ages to get to there, but then he needs a good exit. You need a good exit of turn 7 to get a very good speed. And now as he reaches turn 8, he's gonna shift down, go into the left-hander, go to the right-hander on turn 9, and full send into turn 10. Oh no! Oh wait, I think I confused the F1 track with
Yeah.
the ACC track, and he spins it, he drifts wide, and well, yep. Now you know how much I don't like this track. You have two different ways to take this track. You have the F1 layout, where you go to the kink, and then in this track you have just long straight. So my bad. I confused the F1 track with the ACC track. But Richard Gere was already 5 tenths up, and he wanted to maximize his entry into turn 10 and I'm sorry, turn 8 and then turn 9, the right-handers and then the long right-hander, which heads into turn 10, right before the start-finish line in the last sector. He just went too hot into it. When we have 2 minutes left to spare, can Babaji or Richard Gyan make it another lap? Because he is P7. I think he has it. He has what it takes to be 1 second quicker and get the jump on KC66. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that can be easily done. Like the upper hand of the Ferrari in this track is, as I said, the top speed, right? Like the Ferrari can easily reach that top speed and it can hold it in this track. The best thing about this track and Spa is you can enjoy the Ferrari to its fullest. Like you can easily get those revs in, you can hold that speed, and most of the corners in this track are fast right-handers or fast left-handers where you can easily glide through with the Ferrari and also the Mercedes. So I think if he drives it correctly, right, like this time and doesn't spin out, I think he can get up to that. I think he will be
I'm
easily
sorry,
top.
but then I think we have a change of leader. Can we have a look at the P1 currently in the session? As we're on board with Richard Gyan, is already 5 tenths up on his lap time. I believe Dwarkanath is P1 in the Ferrari.
P1, yep.
We have 50 seconds left to spare. We're gonna have a lot of traffic on the track. Now Babaji takes it pretty safe, but then he loses the time from 5 tenths up to now running low, and now he's in the positive delta. Now goes back to negative delta. He is 1 tenth up, going on to the wrong right-hander, goes a little wide and invalidates it again. Richard Gyan, he is not happy after that hit into the wall. We have Sajid, who is running the GTR, and as I think we had a question regarding the GTR having a good top speed. Yes, you are right. The 2015 GTR, I believe, has a top speed, and I think he went to 80 plus on the long straight when the drivers were comparing their top speed on the long straights. So I believe the GTR was the fastest and 100 in a high fuel load. Now Sajid in this Nissan GTR, who did not have he had a race to forget last weekend, goes on to the start finish line with 2 tenths up on his time. He has a good exit. He's 4 tenths up, 5 tenths up. Can he make it? Can he get the jump on Richard Gyan? No, he cannot. Sajid still stays P9, followed by I'm sorry, I cannot read that name and I don't want to butcher that name. I'm going to Sai in the Porsche, who is 8 seconds off from the pole time. With qualifying done, we have P1, Dwarkanath in the Ferrari, P2, Ghost in the McLaren, P3, Prakhar Watts in the McLaren, P4, Sidhu in the Ferrari, P5, Kapil Bharat in the Bentley, P6, the fan favorite Joseph again, followed by P7 KC66 in the Bentley, P8 Tyagi Porsche, P9 Richard Gyan, the Mercedes, P10 Sajid in the Nissan, P11 Sai in the Porsche, and P12 Admiral Aladdin in the Audi. And as I was talking about that, it's going to be a night race. It's going to be one hell of a race.
So we have, so Aladdin I think was the only driver who was not able to set a time during qualifying, but we have a night race, 1 hour of night race. Gonna be interesting, especially when you in the hard braking zones. We might see someone getting taken out, or we might not. Let's hope for the best.
We have 30 seconds left. I believe the driver in the last race weekend, Jackster, who got pole position by over a second, forgot to click on drive and actually reset back onto the pit lane and had to have a pit lane start into the race, but managed to get a podium, and he won my respect that day. Let's see if anyone is going to get the same mistake that Jackster had with 2 seconds, 1 second, and no, we don't have any driver who forgot to click on start. All of the drivers have calculated their fuel load for 1 hour race and 1 mandatory pit stop for everyone as we are going into the formation lap, heading into the final corner. We turned right, Dwarkanath leading the pack, followed by Ghost. You gotta keep your eyes open for anyone who gets a good start on the race start. We have the drivers warming up the tires. They're slowly heading up to the start finish line. We have red lights and green lights, and away we go. Dwarkanath and Ghost going wheel to wheel. Everyone is still wheel to wheel. We have no overtaking yet done. We have Ghost and Dwarkanath going wheel to wheel, close by close, and then Dwarkanath gets the inside line. Ghost is going to stay on the outside. Can Dwarkanath still maintain P1? Yes, he does. KC66 attacking Ghost for the P2. I think Prakhar Watts has fallen down as we see the time sheets not updated, and Kapil Bharat is now going to take P2 as Dwarkanath manages to get the jump on the start, and Kapil Bharat gets P2, Ghost P3, KC66 P4.
So as you can already see that Dwarkanath is like way ahead of the pack. Like he already has made that gap between him and the pack. Like that's what I'm talking about. Like if you drive the Ferrari correctly in this track, there is no way someone can catch you unless they are getting towed by you. Like there is no way. See, you can already see that gap increasing between Dwarkanath and the pack. And you know who will have the advantage? The ones who are in the middle of the pack into the first straight and the second straight, because they will get.
I'm sorry, but then as you were talking, we see Kapil Bharat spin and onto the fast right-hander. He completely loses P2 and now is probably fallen way back. But you are right. The Dwarkanath has a 1.3 second lead, and Ghost is under attack from Kapil Bharat. It's a very, very close battle. It's going to be a close battle for a few minutes. And as you were saying, yes, the Ferraris do look strong today.
And the best thing about this track is, if you look carefully, there will be always those corners where drivers will try to overshoot and keep a late braking line. And what happens is, like, if there is a driver in front of you, you are either at the risk of taking them out, or you either will slow yourself to a point that where you can't recover and you have to like wait again 5 or 10 minutes into the race where you can get back into that position. This is a thing about this track which is very tricky, and you have to drive very meticulously around this track. You have to keep that momentum up and wait for that opportunity, and you have to take it at that right moment.
That is true. That is why people find it difficult to get into ACC rather than F1. And Zadaxter in the comments is telling Joseph to push the fan favorite in last race weekend and another fan favorite this weekend again. G. Joseph getting that voting and push from the commentators, while we see Casey and Ghost battling on to the long straight. Can Casey stick it onto the long right-hander, or is Ghost going to defend break late? Ghost backs off, lets Casey have the line. Ghost is going to get the toe onto the onto the right-hander, and goes to the fast right-hander again. Casey runs wide and comes onto the track aggressively. Ghost keeps it safe, does not go aggressive. He's going to get
Casey
the
again
move
goes
done.
onto the track. See,
Okay.
this is what I'm saying. Like, no matter if you try, if you try hard, your car will immediately go out of this track. That's like one of the like worst things about this track is you have to keep that in mind that there is a corner. You cannot take that corner easily, and this is a common mistake not only here but in top tier races also, where people are seen going off in this track. And we saw Casey and Ghost trading some paint there, and Ghost getting back into his position at P2, and we might see another battle in between them. As you can see, Casey being towed by Ghost in the straights, and they are immediately being followed by Sidhu. I think Sidhu is waiting for that opportunity to capitalize when these two are fighting. He might take that P2, or he might not be able to take it. He might never. Let's see what happens.
The longer these two battle, the more further Dwarkanath gets, as he's already 4 seconds off from Ghost. But Ghost, I think if he has the pace that he does for in season 1 in the Bentley, if he has that pace, he is easily going to get Dwarkanath. But Dwarkanath is no slouch either. He is a pretty fast boy too. As I'm reading the comments, and we have Monav saying straight longer than Mumbai-Pune highway. Yes, that is a pretty long straight. But if I don't know, it's a long straight, and I'm not quite a fan of this track. I don't believe a lot of drivers are. As we have a drive-through penalty for Sai in the Porsche, who's already 6 seconds back from he's already 6 seconds back. It's not gonna be smooth sailing for him, as he's already 5 seconds behind Admiral Aladdin. While we have Sidhu, who's going wide, takes a bollard with him. We are already 5 minutes in, and we have had a very feisty first 5 minutes in the race.
One more thing that you have to keep in mind while racing in this track is you have to wait for your turn. The way this track is designed is the better you drive, the better you maintain the tires, the longer you can drive. And those side skirts, not side skirts, I do not know what they are called. The strips on the side, you can see, right? The blue, the asphalt, and the blue. The more you drive on them, the more rubber you lose. So you are at the risk of damaging your tires way earlier than you are supposed to. And that will somehow decide whether you are in the top 5 or in the bottom 5. If you use those for the longer part of the race, you will lose your tires, let's say 10-15 laps into the race, or even let's say 17 laps, and then you have to change your tires again, because this is something which ACC does very accurately. Is it can calculate your tire wear, and believe me, those blue strips are very harsh. They will take your tires out the moment you get on them.
As we're talking, Rocker Watts in the McLaren, who is P5, gets a drive-through. I believe he has had a lot of corner cutting and track extension warnings, and this game just gives you a drive-through penalty for it. Don't know what happened over there exactly, but we have two drivers. I think Sai has left the show. Yep, Sai just gives up. He DNFs. Does not. He knows. I don't think. I mean, he just gave up quickly. He still have a long race to go, but coming back to the drivers who are still racing, you gotta give it to Joseph, because it's already his second race and he's already 1.8 up on Kapil Bharat, who won the last race. So staying ahead of the race winner is no easy task, and that means Joseph is going to show us some really beautiful racing as we go ahead in the season. And as we're going ahead, we have Casey still hot on the tail of Ghost. Ghost is not being let go that easily. Casey wants that P2 he is gonna get it no matter what happens. As Sidhu sits there, tells those two boys, "You fight as long as you want, and I'm gonna capitalize on whatever happens."
Kapil Bharat just crossed Joseph. Like, what? That was a 1.7 seconds gap in between them.
Oh wait, you are right. There's Kapil Bharat has passed Joseph. Joseph is now P8. Kapil Bharat might want to go up. Kapil Bharat is potential P6 after Prakhar Watts serves his drive-through penalty. So that means D Joseph is also gonna get P7, and if Joseph comes up is in the top 8s, that's gonna be very, very impressive considering it's a second race already.
So you can see that Aladdin is already in pits. I think he might have damaged his car, and Bharat challenging Gyan for E6 already before even Vats go into the drive-through. That's oh, Bharat took that place from Vats. What? I mean Gyan, my bad. Sorry, from Richard Gyan. Okay.
And D Joseph spins out, and
he
that
was
was
at the risk of taking Tyagi out.
that is not gonna be very, very good for Joseph, as he's already been passed by Sajid, which makes him P10, I believe, as Admiral Aladdin. The pride and joy of Wadia has already served his has already gone to the pits and served his mandatory pit stop, which means he is good to go till the end of the race, which means a heavier car load, considering a lot of fuel. But on board with Richard Gyan, who's hot on the tail of Kapil Bharat, and Richard Gyan gets a beautiful exit, but is not good enough to get the jump on Kapil Bharat. As you know, we'll start finish 9. We have quite a lot of cars close by with each other. We have battles of group of 2 cars up ahead of these drivers, and then we have battle between Richard Gyan and Casey and Kapil.
So
on board, yes,
Kapil Bharat took 2 positions within 30 seconds. Like that is amazing. Like I never thought like he will be able to do this, but the moment they passed the sector markers, I saw that Kapil Bharat was ahead of Richard Gyan, and I was like, wait, this wasn't the order. And he passed both Joseph and Gyan within a span of 30 seconds from each other. That was amazing. That was amazing drive by him.
Has still not served his drive-through penalty, as D Joseph is in the pits in P10. He's gonna serve his mandatory pit stop right now after spinning on the fast right-hander, and that's not gonna be something Joseph is gonna be happy with. But keep your hat down, lad. Keep your head down. You got this. If you show us the pace again, you try get into the top 8s again and make a lot of people proud. In considering it's still your second race. Sidhu knows Prakhar Watts has a drive-through penalty. Prakhar Watts might want to push, or he might be just trying to get the toe so that he can pull off a gap and not manage to get lapped by cars when he serves the drive-through penalty. But D Joseph and Admiral Aladdin long ways back, and Admiral Aladdin has now passed D Joseph, as I believe Prakhar Watts goes into the pits to serve his drive-through penalty. Sidhu now into clean air. We have drivers passing Prakhar Watts. We have Kapil Bharat, who is now P5. Richard Gyan now P6. And Dwarkanath is 10 seconds off from Ghost. And we have drivers now way off. More than a second. So I think it's going to be a few minutes of silence. So, Quantum, what do you think of ACC and the racing, the cars in ACC? What do you think about the game?
Well, honestly, ACC has been an amazing experience for me. Like, I never thought that you can feel cars to this much extent while like using a computer, but in all honesty, like I have been mesmerized with how ACC is designed, and like the time I have been spending in this game is way too much, honestly, for my from my work and from my student perspective, but it is worth it. I am able to learn a lot of things that you can and you cannot do in a car. And the best thing about is what ACC gives you. It gives you a heavier car. Like we all know that GT cars are much more heavier than like prototype or the F1 cars, but it also gives you a lot of technique that you can learn from the game. So yeah, like in all honesty, ACC has been a mesmerizing experience for me.
That is true. I like the AC, I like ACC more than I like F1. Though I've spent more time in F1 than I have in ACC, and the driving style is quite different too. You can just go full ham on your throttle in F1 and still get a good exit. In ACC, I think you have to modulate your throttle and get to know your car properly because each car in this game has a different aspect. And I believe you also played a lot of Dota, so I think you can relate with this that each car has its own characteristics, has its own drawbacks, just like in Dota. Like each character has their own drawbacks and characteristics. As Sidhu, going pretty aggressive in first two herbs, car bouncing, getting hot on the tail of KC66. It's still a long ways. He's 1.6 seconds off, but yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Like every car, like the moment I got into the game, people were like, you should drive this car, you should drive that car, and some were like, just go with the car that you think looks nice. And I drove like some of the cars, and I have settled with the Ferrari after some time, and like honestly, it has been one of the best cars I have driven in a long, long time. And yes, every car is different. Like whether it's a mid-engine car, whether it's a front-engine car, whether it's a rear-engine car, every car is so different from one another, and you can push every car. Once you get to know that like you can push this much, you can feel that car growing within you. That like there will be a special place for that car within you. Like no matter how many times you switch your car, there will be that soft corner where you want to try that car one more time. And so like honestly, there is that soft fuzzy feeling with cars in ACC. Yeah, like you don't get as much choice as in like other games, and honestly, you shouldn't. Like it's like, as you said, it's like Dota. Like you're not here to play each and 110 heroes that they give you. You're here for that one hero, two hero, three heroes that you can play. Similarly, you're here for that 2 or 3 cars that you want to drive. You will drive your best, and you will get those victories. And even if you don't win a race, it doesn't matter. As long as you can end an endurance race in this game, you will know like how good it feels.
That is true. That is true. And as I'm reading the comment chat box, WePlace mentions Aladdin not driving a Porsche makes me sad. Lol. Yes, Aladdin used to drive the Porsche, but is now driving the Audi. As I think I was preparing for one of the endurance races, as you were mentioning. I believe I was teamed up with Aladdin, and I asked him if you're going to drive the Porsche, and I was expecting him to say yes. So I already did a lot of laps with the Porsche. I started loving it. I didn't like the Porsche because it was twitchy, but once I got used to it, oh my god, if it is the best, most beautiful car I've ever driven on this track. And he just told me no. Nirma, we're gonna drive the Audi. I'm like, why? He's like, it's a good car. It's I like it more than the Audi. I like it more than the Porsche. And well, now you have it. He has now transitioned from the Porsche to the Audi. And all the people who have watched the movie Dictator, you're gonna know that it's not the Admiral Aladdin we know. Admiral Aladdin we know likes to drive the Porsche. But here we have him driving another German super machine, the Audi, instead of the Porsche.
You can see Sidhu has made it to the tail of Casey, and like there is a gap of 4 seconds between Casey and Ghost. So I think this battle is pretty over till Ghost makes a pit stop, or he loses his car in either of the corners. But till then, I think this battle is like over. But you can see Sidhu making it up to Casey, and I think Sidhu will fight for the position. So what do you think about P10 and P11? Will taking early pits play as an advantage or disadvantage?
If you have the pace and if you are carrying enough fuel to get there, I think it's going to be pretty easy sailing for them to get into the points, especially D Joseph, who I'm expecting and I want him to finish into the points because he has been spectacular so far. And as I'm mentioning, we are on board with Aladdin and D Joseph. Aladdin is going to feel the heat from D Joseph, both the Audi boys. And I personally like the Audi of D Joseph. It just looks so pure, it looks so minimalistic, but so good at the same time. Aladdin racking the purple livery. And oh, we have another drive-through penalty, KC66. The racing gods are showering us with drive-through penalties after drive-through penalties. Sidhu is gonna be happy now. As you were mentioning, Sidhu is gonna get the jump on KC66. And your commentator's curse has come true. We have KC66 with the drive-through penalty. Sidhu is gonna be happy. He's gonna have a wide smile on his face, saying, "Podium is mine."
So after that drive-through, I think KC is going to end up, because by the looks of it, all of the cars are within 10 seconds of each other, and by the time KC comes out of the pit, it will be a tight battle with Tyagi for the P7. And let's just hope that KC is able to get that P7, or I think he will just, end up in P8 if Sajid again crosses him. So let's see what happens. And like, this is the worst thing about this track is once you cross those markers, there's no way coming back from that. This track is not forgiving at all. Like
That
I
is true.
mentioned.
Can we move to D Joseph because I see him 6 tenths off, and as Neeraj mentions, D Joseph is in the cleared air, not running in the pack seems clever. But D Joseph right now is hot in the tail of Admiral Aladdin. If Admiral Aladdin has the pace, he's going to get a very good tow, and it's going to be very detrimental to KC66 because if these two drivers can get to him before he sorts the drive-through penalty, which is going to be a far dream, but if that happens, D Joseph is going to be in the points. He just needs to overtake one car.
I think he'll be able to cross Aladdin because in this game, tow is basically your free DRS, and we can see Joseph trying to make a move on
Aladdin.
the right.
Joseph trying to go on the inside. He is looking for the move on the inside, but we have seen two drivers spin out over here in the first lap and in the next few laps
And
as well.
Joseph.
D Joseph gets the move done. Very, very confident. Aladdin does not want to risk it and he just lets him go. That was pretty easy for D Joseph. And as we see way back, we have Dwarkanath about to lap both of these cars. Will that hamper Joseph's overtake on Aladdin, and will Aladdin get it back after D Joseph lets Dwarkanath pass?
So as I said, like in this game, the tow is basically your free DRS, and especially in this track, once you're onto that straight, the back end straight, and you're in the tow of another car, there is a at least 90% chance that you're going to take that chance and you're going to make a move on that car. And once Dwarkanath passes these two cars, I think he'll be able to secure that victory, because after this it's pretty much traffic for both Ghost and Sidhu, because you can see that all of the cars are within 6 seconds of each other, and in this track 6 seconds is really not much. Like once you think of it, once you go into the triple left-handers and the single right-hander after the start-finish line, it's the 6 seconds is not much, and you can already see Sidhu trying to make up that time between him and Ghost. And I think, see, as I told you, KC is behind Tyagi. Oh wait, is Tyagi making it into the pits?
Casey
Oh yes,
and Tyagi both have not served the mandatory pit stop, so as of now, Tyagi still has a very, very good possibility of still staying in front of KC66 unless KC66 gets a move on and switches the fuel mode 1 and scenario 7 and push.
I think it will be really tough for KC at this point. You can already see that gap between him and Gyan of over 12 seconds, and even if he tries to push a car, until and unless Gyan makes his pit stop, I think it's not possible for him to catch up to him right now, because neither he has the two of a car, and neither is Gyan being caught in traffic. But on the other hand, you can already see the time between Ghost and Sidhu reduced to over 1/200th of a second, from 7.6 to 7.4 right now.
Gaps are pretty huge right now. We don't have any clusters of cars together. We have 3 cars who have served their mandatory pit stop, A. Tyagi in the Porsche, and we have 2 Audis, D. Joseph and Admiral Aladdin, the pride and joy of Wadia. I believe these 3 are going to have a very, very good chance to get the points, as Prakan Watts, after serving his drive-through penalty, is now P8, and KST66, after serving his drive-through penalty as well, comes to P6. So we have P8 and P6 after the drive-through penalties. Dorganat still flying away, and Sajid is now in the points in the Nissan GTR.
So once Dwarkanath pits, I think he will probably pit during that 28-minute, 30-minute mark, and that is the time I think where Ghost will try to push and get that 1 lap lead between him and Dwarkanath, so he can get into the pits next lap, and also he can come out with less fuel load than Dwarkanath, and also fresher tires than Dwarkanath. Let's see what happens. And what problem I think Joseph and Aladdin will face, as well as Tyagi, is they'll have to run with those tires for 35 minutes. And 35 minutes on this track with those tires is brutal, really brutal. Unless you're, like running for 6 hours or a 8-hour or 9-hour race, like doing longer, like the longer you stint with used tires in this game, it's going to be worse on your time as well as on your pace.
I think I'm going to disagree with you over there. If D. Joseph is clever enough, he know not to push, since he might have the pit advantage over the other drivers. But I will agree with you on the terms of fuel load. Yes, if Dwarkanath Ghost, if they battle in the pits, I believe their battle is going to be in the pits. It's going to be determined in the pits. If either Ghost will get the jump on Dwarkanath or not. If Ghost manages to close that gap to around under 10 seconds or 5 seconds, it's going to be a very close battle till the end of the race, as we see Prakhar Watts and Sajid battling on the track, and Prakhar Watts gets taps the inside of Sajid, as both of them still battling. Sajid is not going to let Prakhar Watts by, but I am sorry, I opened my mouth too soon. Sajid leaves the door wide open for Prakhar Watts, and he just takes it. That was a very, very brutal mistake. That's going to cost Sajid, and he dives into the pits as Prakhar Watts now flies past Sajid, fourth car to serve his mandatory pit stop in his Nissan GTR.
So I think this is the point where both Tyagi and Joseph will make their move. There is a 30-second gap between Tyagi and Joseph, but once Joseph is able to cross Sajid, once he is he's coming out of the pits and he's able to cross, I think it will be both good for him as well as Tyagi, because then he can move on to Vats, who is yet to serve his pit. And as we all know, Prakhar Vats had to go through the drive-through, and again a pit. I think it will be easier for Tyagi and Joseph to cross Prakhar Vats in that scenario. As well as there's Casey, there's Gyan, there's Bharat and Sidhu. So the total gap between Sidhu and Joseph right now stands at probably 3/5 of a lap or 4/5 of a lap, and I think that will close down to what, 1/5 or even 2/3 of a lap, I think, or 1/3 of a lap. And that is where the fuel load of D. Joseph and Tyagi will come into effect, because they'll have much less fuel to carry than the other guys, and since the other guys will be on much fresher tires, they won't have that much grip, and that is the point where these guys can make a move and go up in the positions. But then again, we have to wait till the other guys make a pit. And
As
Dwarka,
you were talking about the pit strategies, the potential pit strategies, we have a comment from Neeraj Rajgur saying best is for Casey to pit and hope for a pit delay for Gyan. Casey tires will be optimum just in case he gets closer to Gyan after his pit stop. What do you think of this message
I
from?
think I think he's absolutely correct. Like as I said, this is the same thing that the Ghost will try to do with Dwarkanath. Once Dwarkanath gets into the pit, it will be the point where both Sidhu and Ghost try to make the same move. Either they pit early or they pit later than Dwarkanath, giving them the advantage. And I think uh, Casey did like is coming out of the pits right now. So once Bharat goes into the pit into like what 1 or 2 minutes from now, I think his tires will be at the optimum pace for the fuel load that he'll be carrying for half an hour of the race, and yeah, probably he can make his move. So we have the top five racers who are yet to make their pit. So I think there's a high possibility that both. I mean, Bharat, Tyagi, and Casey, all of them moving up 3 places, replacing Gyan and Vats because of their late pit strategy.
Let's see if the prediction of Neeraj and yours is right after Gyan makes his pit stop after Casey has done his pit stop. Currently in P8 and Mercedes of Gyan in P4. As if you mentioned, Kapil Bharat in the Bentley, Tyagi in the Porsche, and Casey in the Bentley again, replacing the threes of Ferrari of Sidhu, Mercedes of Gyan, and McLaren of Watts or because of the late pit stop. I think Watts compromised himself after getting the track penalty. Otherwise, it was an easy podium for him because Parker Watts is also a pretty fast driver.
So yeah, Prakhar was able to come from P8 into that P5, but I think it was like all of his work will go in vain once he gets into the pit. So I feel pretty bad for him right now because of the drive-through that he had to go through. Or else I think he would have been the top 3 contender below Sidhu, fighting like Vats, Gyan and Sidhu fighting for that P3. Because Ghost and Dwarkanath are way far ahead for the pack to catch up. Until and unless Ghost or Dwarkanath, either of them makes a pit, it will be hard for the pack to catch up to them. So yeah, Vats could have been a really good contender for that P3 with Sidhu and Gyan, but let's see what happens.
Into the top 5 by Zetaxter, saying that let's go 1 hour race. I'd say top 5 finish for D Joseph is brilliant enough, considering it's his second ACC race.
Yeah, true. Like
And I believe we have problem in stream. Yep, I'm sorry, people. We have technical issues. But yeah, going back to the race so far, the first 5 minutes were very intense, don't you think?
yeah, the first 5 minutes were truly intense. Both Post making that move on Casey and Casey then again trying to get back Ghost and finally into the back. Then we had Vats who had a drive-through penalty, and I think it was Sajid who got another drive-through penalty for that. Or it was Joseph, I don't remember. It was Tyagi, I think. No,
It was
I
there.
think Sajid, right? So
Yeah,
both of
Sergeant.
them, yeah, both of them serving their drive-throughs, and right now we are like back onto the live race, and you can see that Joseph quietly making up his positions. He's already P9, and uh, the moment before this, the gap between Casey and Joseph was, I think, 10 seconds. It increased to 12 seconds. But let's see what happens. I still
And
believe Joseph can get that position from. Oh, in the meantime, Sidhu and Gyan, I think, completed their pits.
and we have Prakhar was still in the pits. We have the top 2 runners still have not pitted, and Prakhar was still somehow maintaining P5 and now drops down to P6 and Richard Gyan gets that jump. KC66 is still behind from Gyan, but Gyan is now going to have the fresh tire advantage. Kapil Bharat, Tyagi, Sidhu, Gyan, Butts, KC66, Joseph, Sajid, and Aladdin are all the drivers who have served their mandatory pit stop. Now left to serve the mandatory pit stops, Dwarkanath and Ghost.
And as I mentioned earlier, you can clearly see that Tyagi was able to move from P10, I think, his position to P4 after that pit stop. That was really a good move by him, and I think if he keeps up the pace, he'll be able to take that P3 from Kapil Bharat, unless he increases the gap between him and Tyagi. And on the other hand, you can already see Sidhu trying to reduce the gap between him and Tyagi from 10 seconds to 6 seconds right now, and the gap between Dwarkanath and Ghost still stand below 15 seconds, but I don't think Ghost will be able to pass Dwarkanath, just because both of them yet have to make a pit, and that 30-minute marker, that 30-minute time was lost by Ghost. If he had pitted earlier, I think he would have been able to get that P1 from Ghost. Honestly, in my opinion, he could have gone.
Well, there's only one way to find out, to ask one of the fast boys. Our race streamer right now, DJ, was one of the fastest drivers in season 1. DJ, what do you think? What is going to be a very good pit stop right now to get the jump on Dwarkanath? If you were Ghost, what would you do?
You can see that there's a 14-second gap between Dwarkanath and Ghost. It shows this lap difference. So just see that's first and I don't think Ghost can take
What do you think of the race start? Because Ghost and Dwarkanath were wheel to wheel for most of the race and the start of the race, and Kapil Bharat got the P2 but then spun out, but now he's back in P3. Do you think Kapil Bharat has the chance to get the race win again?
Well, I don't think so, because Dwarkanath got a really good start at the race, as he already maintained the gap between the first few cars, and he gained the time while just doing the laps. So I don't think if Dwarkanath makes a mistake, then Ghost and Bharat can have a chance at getting the first and second place.
There's only less than 25 minutes of the race remaining, and still we haven't seen Dwarkanath and Ghost be taking a pit. I don't know what they're trying to do here. Like, Dwarkanath has already secured P1. Like, there's no way someone can snatch that from him. But there is a high chance that once Ghost goes into the pit, there is a chance that Bharat can cross him. But I think there is less than 15 seconds of gap, or am I wrong? I'm not sure, between Ghost and K Bharat.
Reading the chat box, Neeraj mentions that DJ is not audible. We're gonna check on that in just a second. As Quantum, as you were saying.
Yeah, as I was saying, that once Ghost goes into the pit, there is a high chance that Bharat will be able to reduce the gap, and if he is able to reduce the gap to, let's say, less than 10 seconds, he might have that upper hand, because once Ghost comes out of the pit, his tires will be new, he won't have that much grip. And as we know that during the night, even after the track evolution takes place, you have to have at least 2 or 3 laps before those tires get up to the optimum temperature, optimum pressure, so you can have that correct grip and you can push the car to its max. So I just hope that Ghost is able to keep his P2, but I really don't understand that why he is not pitting. Like, we are going into that last 20 minutes of the race, and it will be a very risky move. Like, if he tries to like pit after, let's say, leaving the last 15 minutes.
Well, he might be going for the high risk, high reward mindset over here. But as I had a look at the points difference, I see it's quite a feisty battle for the top 5. We have Jackster, who's not racing today, 50 points. Then we have, I believe, KC66 with 36 points. Ankit, who is not racing again today, I believe, in the Porsche, and 35 points. And Couple, when the Bentley is 33 points. So if he manages to win this race, like he did last weekend, he's going to be in the top threes in the championship.
And you can already see that Sidhu, what I said about Sidhu was, he knows how to make that pace up between him and the car ahead of him. And Sidhu has already reduced the pace from 5 seconds to 2.4 seconds. It was 7, it was 5, and now it's 2.4. I think it won't be very soon before Sidhu is able to fight Tyagi for that P4. And in the meantime, Joseph is like ahead of Prakhar Vats, who was in the pit, as I mentioned earlier, that once Vats goes into the pit, it will be hard for him to hold that position, and it is like he has already dropped down to P9, and we can see that Aladdin fighting with Sajid here, and I think the gap is still. Oh wait, Sajid gets crossed by Aladdin on the outside. See, as they were able, cross it into the tight right-hander, and Aladdin makes a move on Sajid. And I think
Well,
Sajid.
yes, we can actually see Dwarkanath is in the pits right now.
I think he just completed his pit, and
Yes, he completed his pits.
and the gap between him and Ghost reduced to 4. Oh wait,
Wait.
did I think Ghost crossed Dwarkanath? Yeah,
Yes, I think so.
yeah. But I don't think there's a lot of advantage for Ghost here, because he's the last one who has to make a pit, and no matter how hard he tries, I don't think he'll be able to increase that gap between him, Dwarkanath, and Kapil Bharat. And once he goes into the pit, it will be an easy P1 for Dwarkanath. Dwarkanath has managed an amazing stint of over 40 minutes, I guess. I think, yeah, 20. He made his pit at the starting of 20 minutes, and he was able to manage a stint of 40 minutes. On the other hand, Ghost maintaining a longer stint than him, but then again, he is at the risk of losing his position to Dwarkanath once he pit. I think the lap after this is where Ghost should pit. So let's see what happens. And Kapil Bharat will also have the chance of crossing, or like reducing his gap between him and Dwarkanath. I mean, sorry, him and Ghost. So let's hope for the best right now.
Well, we had Neeraj mention and predicted in the chat box that both of the drivers, referring to Dwarkanath and Ghost, that both of them might be waiting for each other to pit. But Ghost is extending his tires, and it's not going to be good. And I have another message. Madhurema Maji saying, "Is it quantum casting?" Yes, it is quantum casting. And he's doing a pretty good job. It's his first day, and he is loving ACC as a game. It's a beautiful game. I like it much more than F1 2020, but don't get me wrong, F1 2020 is good in its own place, but I feel ACC is much more challenging as compared to F1, since you have heavier cars and you have to have that momentum going, and you have to get very, very close to your car, get to know your car, name your car, and know how it handles, what all your car does not like to handle, and just use it to an
Yeah,
advantage.
sorry to interrupt you, but I think Sidhu is trying to make a move on Tyagi right now.
Yeah, I have been watching that. Sidhu is trying to make that move on Tyagi, and as I said, he has been reducing his gap between him and Tyagi from 7.52, and it's like what, barely a thousandth of a second right now, and he's on the tail of Tyagi. They are on to the start finish line, near the start finish line, and I think Sidhu will make a move after this corner. So let's see. Sidhu on
Will
the inside
Will
of
Sidhu
Tyagi.
send it on the inside? Yes, he
And
does.
yes, he does.
Tyagi is going to go switch straight back to Sidhu because he has another long straight coming. Sidhu might want to maximize his exit. So will Tyagi. Can Tyagi maximize the Porsche power and get the position back on Sidhu, who has now overtaken him in the Ferrari as we go to the left-hander and the right-hander. Tyagi going a little bit wider than Sidhu into the entry of the corner. Sidhu now leading the charge into the long
Oh, now
straight
we
as
can
I'm
see
talking.
Richard Gyan with a drive-through penalty.
We have a lot of drive-through penalties being dished out, and now Sidhu has just gone flying
Did
past. But
Joseph
now
make another pit stop? I think yes. He went for another pit. Yeah, Joseph is still in the pit stop.
that's not
I
going to be good for him.
Yeah, I think he's out of fuel maybe. As I said, like fuel will be something that you have to keep in mind if you are making an early pit stop. And we can see that yes, still Tyagi is still trying to fight Sidhu, and on the other hand, Casey is trying to make a move on Gyan, and he is able to make that move from the inside onto the back end straight, makes that move, goes ahead of Gyan, increases the gap. I think Gyan will be able to recover. Let's see. Gyan again coming onto the back bumper of Casey. Gyan trying to make a move on the outside. Casey not giving him space. Casey on the inside. Gyan not leaving Casey's bumper. I think they might trade paint in the next corner, and Casey is still trying to leave Gyan in his dust.
But Richard Gyan has a drive to penalty, so I don't think all of this
Oh
bad
yeah,
thing
Richard.
is.
Oh
Oh,
yes, I forgot about that.
that was too close for
Yeah,
comfort for
yeah.
K66. Richard Gyan heads into the pits to serve his drive to penalty. It's not going to be good sailing for him. But we have 15 minutes left, and Ghost has still not pitted as he is increasing the gap to
Between
Dwarkanath to 33.8 seconds. I don't know. I think he forgot that we have a mandatory pit stop in the server. And as I mentioned that, he now goes to the pits. Can Dwarkanath get his head down, send it every corner, every single corner, nail all of the apexes and get the move on Ghost? As we're on board the Ghost heading to his pit box, and can we move to onboard of Dwarkanath? As he's rounding up to the final corner, it's going to be a move on Ghost, but is it going to be a small gap? Is staying out long enough going to be beneficial for Ghost? As we see
And
now, Ghost has been passed. And I believe Kapil Bharat is also going to pass
oh, I
Ghost. And
think
we see,
Aladdin's. I think his span.
yeah, I did see that out of the peripheral view. I don't know what happened with it.
Well, he's back again, and also Madhav behind him.
Well, Neeraj in the comment section is happy right now. The prediction seemed to
Oh
work.
my god! Oh my
Go
god!
Casey.
Madhav and
Oh
okay,
no.
this is just showing the race right now.
Car just hit Madhav right now.
Yes, I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
Aladdin and Sajid had a incident at the corner, and sadly Ghost also was caught up in that, but he was able to get out of it.
It's not going to be very good for Ghost because he has already reduced the gap to 7.9 seconds. If I remember correctly, before Ghost pitted, both of Ghost was running 12 seconds behind Dwarkanath before both of them saw their mandatory pit stop. Now Ghost has reduced that from 7 seconds, and now after this incident, it's down to 10 seconds again. Ghost is not going to be happy right now. He is going to be fuming.
On the other hand, if you watch Sidhu, he has again been reducing his gap between him and Bharat. Well, Tyagi is on the tail of Sidhu, but the gap is still increasing. It was at 0.7, now it's 1.7 seconds. On the other hand, the gap between Bharat and Sidhu was at 10 seconds, now standing at it. Do you think by the end of the 12 minutes he will be able to pass Bharat, or will Bharat be able to keep that P3, or like might push to P2? What do you think about that?
I'm sorry, can you repeat again? I think my internet went a little wobbly.
Oh.
Airtel, please start working again properly. Can you
Well,
repeat?
yeah, it's the story of every other Indian ISP. Anyway, so as I was saying, the gap between Bharat and Sidhu has been reducing over time. It was 10, it was 8, and now it's 7.8. Do you think Sidhu will be able to make that move on Bharat and get that P3 from him? Or do you think Bharat will be, able to make that move on Ghost and move to P2 and Ghost being demoted to P3 by the end of the race? What do you think? Because I don't think there is any other way for Ghosh to catch up to Dwarkanath and make that move because I think it's one lap after his pit or two laps, and I think by the third lap his tires will be at that that perfect time and pressure and temperature. But by that time Dwarkanath will be way ahead, and 10 minutes left into the race. Even a person like me won't make such a move because I'll be at the risk of like if something goes wrong, I'll be at the risk of losing P2 as well. So I think, I mean, I hope that Ghost thinks like carefully through this and tries to keep his position true. And if he sees the opportunity, then only he pushes or like just keeps it like this because these are the last 10 minutes, and we all know how frustrating those last 10 minutes can be in an endurance race.
I don't think Sidhu is going to get the move on Kapil Bharat since we have 10 minutes left. But then since it's ACC, anything can happen. I believe Sidhu having a move on Kapil Bharat has a higher probability than Kapil Bharat having a move on Ghost or Ghost having a move on Dwarkanath. I think Sidhu getting P3 is highly probable.
So, I don't know if you have noticed or not, but the gap between Bharat and Sidhu has reduced drastically from 8 seconds to 6.5 seconds. And the gap between him and Tyagi has increased as well. So
and the gap between Dwarkanath and Ghost is also reducing. It's going to be a good battle to see which move happens first. Is this going to be the lead change, or is it going to be a P3 change between Kapil Bharat and Sidhu?
So something off topic that I would like to mention is I have been an avid Formula One fan for a long time. I have never been a fan of Ferrari. Honestly, from the days of Michael Schumacher till now, never been a fan of Ferrari. But honestly, after playing ACC, I have been liking the Ferrari a lot, and I have been driving it a lot. So might change my opinion later. But yeah,
mentioning not liking Ferrari is not going to be good for you because I think you're going to have a lot of spears ready.
Yeah, I know
with quantum written on it.
Yeah, but yeah, in all honesty, never been a Ferrari fan in F1. I have always been a McLaren boy, and after that, I somehow changed to Petronas AMG after Michael Schumacher joined, and I saw Lewis Hamilton. But yeah, after I played ACC, I drove the Ferrari, and I thought that it had the potential of being one of the best cars, and yes, it is. As you can see, like the way Sidhu drove the car, yes, a driver is really important in terms of like how a car is behaving on a track. But in all honesty, in tracks like Paul Ricard, Imola, then you have Monza, Spa, the Ferrari outshines all the other cars. It can really use its engine to the max. It can use its top speed, as well as it can use its advantage of having the high torque corners, which is something we can similarly see in a Porsche, which other cars don't share. So the Ferrari, the Porsche, and the Lexus, I think, are the only cars which takes high-end torque corners, and other cars usually take it at a lower end torque limit. And so I think the kind of track like Paul Ricard and Spa really favors the Ferrari. As we can see, the gap between him and Bharat has reduced, as you can see, and it's 4 seconds now between him and Bharat. Like, do you still think there's 8 minutes left in the race? Do you think the move can be made by Sidhu? I really hope he makes the move because there will be P1 for Ferrari and P3 for Ferrari.
It's going to be an amazing race on Paul Ricard if Sidhu keeps his head down, nails every corner, every apex, as we see Kapil Bharat pass turn 1 as Sidhu now enters turn 1. I think it's going to be 70-30 percentage. I'm going to give 70% that the move can be made, 30% the move can not be made. But let's see, anything can happen. It's ACC we're talking about. It's just lose the car even a little bit of oversteer and you still on throttle say goodbye to any advantage you've made.
So I think this is the they are both heading onto the back end straight, and I think this is where Sidhu will try to make his move. You can see the gap has now plus 3.9 seconds, and the top speed of Ferrari will play a very big role here, both in this lap and the next lap. When Sidhu goes into the back end straight, that's when the Ferrari will outshine the Bentley of K Bharat. In the meantime, you can see that Prakar Vats was able to cross Gyan for the P7. And do you think Vats will be able to cross Casey, or will Casey hold on to the? We have someone left the race.
Dwarkanath has left the race.
The race leader has just left the race. I think
there
Ghost
is
is
a
more than happy right now.
Yeah.
This is unreal right now what we are witnessing.
I think
the
he
race
might have a
leader has
connection
left. The connection issues, the ISP, whatever it is, the internet, electricity loss or internet outage, whatever it is, it's
that puts K Bharat
game
in
over.
P2 and Sidhu in P3.
Can we move on to Sidhu and see what lap times he's doing, as we have a request from Neeraj mentioning what lap time Sidhu is doing at the moment. His last lap was a 157.9 and his best lap time has been 156.9.
Well, the gap is surely dropping between Bharat and Sidhu.
You can already see that Sidhu is able to make that gap to less than 2 seconds. I mean, a little more than 2 seconds, but I think the final back end straight in this lap, the final section of the back end straight in this lap, will be the turning point for Sidhu and Bharat. If Sidhu tries to make a move and if he is able to pass Bharat, I think Bharat will easily do that, because as I said, there's no way the Bentley can compete with the top speed of the Ferrari. And in the meantime, Ghost is cruising on to his victory for the last 5 minutes. I think he's literally the most happiest man right now.
It's gonna be unreal for Ghost. Ghost is gonna be pinching himself right now.
He should buy a lottery ticket. You can never be this lucky. Like 5 minutes into the race and the race leader has a problem, they disconnect and you are in P1. You have to be really lucky for this.
I'm just gonna mention for the record, Ghost has no points right now. This is gonna be his first point and his first race win in this season. The championship winner from last season has 0 points as of now, and this is gonna be his first race win. If you were Ghost, DJ, what would be going through your mind right now at 4 minutes 20 seconds in the race?
Well, I would be the happiest person, and well, after the like we have seen, he has collided with Aladdin and Sajid, where there was an incident right at the corner. So
yeah.
He lost almost 3 seconds with that incident. So if I was Ghosh, I would be very happy right now, and it is more than well deserved. And we can see K Bharat and Sidhu. Sidhu still trying to getting the move, but I don't think it's possible. And we can see there's more time dropping now.
I think it's gonna get stretched till the last lap. You still cannot tell what's gonna happen between K Bharat and Sidhu. Now it's gonna be.
The gap was 7 seconds when we started watching. Now it has been dropped to 1.8, and we just have to wait and watch what is going to happen.
And as I said, just 3 minutes and 20 seconds left of the race, and by the time Sidhu is able to make a move, it will be probably the last lap, because I think this is the third last lap, if I'm not correct. If I'm correct, this is the third last lap, because by the time they are onto this back end straight, again, Ghost will be into his final lap and the final lap for the race. So yeah, by the second time they are here, either Sidhu has to make a move, or he has to just hold his position for that P3.
And then you also have the factor of slipstreaming. The Ferrari, they have long straights on this track. So if Sidhu can get within 1 second and get the slipstream down on KC, Kapil Bharat, I believe it's going to be a move. So I'm going to be rooting for Sidhu to get P2.
Well, the time is just dropping now. It's just at 1.3 seconds.
So Sidhu, I think, should be the driver of the day. He made up points, positions before he pitted. He made up his positions after his pit. I think the driver of the day can easily go to Sidhu. Who do you think, in your opinion, the driver of the day should be? Should it be Ghost, Bharat, Sidhu, Tyagi, Casey, Vats, Gyan, Aladdin, Sajid, or Joseph? Who should it
Well,
be?
I think it has to be Sidhu. After seeing the performance that he has displayed today, you can already see that the interval is dropping. It's only at 0.969 seconds right now.
Less than 1 second. Like that's an amazing performance by Sidhu. Both before he pit, if you guys remember how he was making out his positions from P6, he was able to go to P3. After that, he lost his positions because of pitting, I think, at the 30-minute or 31st minute mark. And after that, he came back from P8 and right now to P3/P4. If you count the period before Dwarkanath disconnected. So yeah.
Well,
And
as
I
Nirma
think this
said,
is the point where he makes the move, right? Yep.
yeah, well, as
This is
Nirma
the
said,
point.
this is going to go to the last lap, and I think yes, and Sidhu tries to make the move on Bharat.
On the outside of Bharat, I think he'll be able to get that. I think he should have continued the tour a bit longer, because he could have got. I
And
think he made.
Sidhu made
Both the
move.
drivers going wheel to wheel.
Yeah.
Sidhu goes on the inside, dives on the inside. Kapil Bharat backs off, tries to play it safe. Kapil Bharat going a bit wider than Sidhu. Sidhu now goes on the inside. Kapil Bharat is trying to go to the
But
switch
just trying
back.
to get the
And
position
Bharat
back.
is trying from the
Does
inside.
not work out of Kapil
Switches
Bharat, but
to
now
the outside
Kapil
of
going
Sidhu.
wider. Sidhu on the inside. We still have 3 more corners to go till we reach the start finish line. If Kapil Bharat can maintain staying within the slipstream of Sidhu, it's going to be another move as we are ending to the final few seconds into the race. We are going to go to the last corner now. If Kapil Bharat can get the switch back on and tries to go wide and now enters in again, and Kapil Bharat gets a better exit than Sidhu. Kapil Bharat tries to go on the inside. Sidhu is weaving around trying to break the slipstream from Kapil Bharat. Sidhu being aggressive on the defense and going into turn 1. And
Oh my
Kapil Bharat
God.
breaks
Oh my
and he gets
God.
caught out from breaking of Sidhu. Kapil Bharat has compromised himself, trying to get too aggressive, goes to the runoff area. There is still chance for Kapil Bharat to get this move if Kapil Bharat now keeps his head down. But I believe he just went to Sidhu just broke early, and Kapil was not expecting it.
Yeah, Kapil just lost it at the very last inch of the breaking point, and it's safe to say that he didn't wreck his car. That would have been devastating for him. But yeah, as you can see, Sidhu making it into P2, Kapil in P3, Ghost clinging onto his P1, Tyagi is P4, and the position of the bottom 6 has stayed the same for the last 20, I think 15 minutes of the race. 20 minutes should be a bit longer. Yeah. So Tyagi, Casey, Bhats, Gyan, Aladdin, Sajid, and Joseph comprising the bottom 6, and Joseph going extra wide. There's a three-way fight between Sajid, Aladdin, and Joseph for P8. I
Yeah,
mean,
P8, P9, and P10. So all of them
As
are in
now
the
we have
points.
reached the race end. We have reached the race end. Ghost wins the race after 31 laps. Sidhu is now going to be P2, followed by
Joseph
Kapil
trying to make a
Bharat.
move on the inside of Aladdin. Oh my God, Joseph misses his breaking point, and I think he loses. He's still on the bumper of Aladdin. Okay. And
Madhav weaving around, being happy to get P7. Now Aladdin and Joseph finished the race. I think Joseph was trying to go for the switch back
Yup.
on Aladdin. Can we go on board to Sidhu? I believe he has not finished the race yet. Now the race has start finish line. Now Sidhu has finished the race in P2, Kapil Bharat P3, Tyagi P4, KC P5, and Ricard P6. What a race! What a race!
That was an amazing race. Honestly, driver of the day goes to Sidhu. Like that was an amazing race. Like honestly, before the pit as well as after the pit, that was an amazing race. I really feel bad for Dwarkanath. He would have been P1, but okay, you can see Dwarkanath. I think he joined again. Oh no, that was sorry, my bad. Anyways, that's the end of the race. What do you have to say, Nirma, for this?
That was an amazing race. The first 5 minutes were amazing, and the last 10 minutes. I was expecting the last 10 minutes to be quite boring, but wow, was that exciting! Kudos to Sidhu for making it very, very fun to watch. As now we're gonna have the podium interview, and we're gonna bring in the drivers, the top three finishers, into the commentary box.
So before we get into that, like one of the worst tracks produces one of the most brilliant results today. One of the most amazing races I have seen in a long time. Yeah, kudos to all the top three people.
As now we have been joined by the race winner, Ghost. Ghost, what is going on in your mind right now? You were P2, then in the race start, what happened? How did couple get the move on you in the first lap itself?
Yeah, first of all, I think I'm still P2 because Varaknath probably had a power cut or something, so it was probably his win. But apart from that, yeah, the first lap the corner number. He was going a bit too slow, so I kind of tapped his back a bit. Rear bumper kind of spun out, I guess. And sorry for that, but after that, it was just a boring race, just keeping up with the lap times. That's it.
Also, I saw you were involved in the incident of Aladdin and Sajid. I believe you were trying to get the close the
Yeah,
gap to Dwarkana.
I
What happened
just
over
hit
there?
the apex and I just hit the apex of the corner, and then I saw two cars just facing me. So I like as much as steering angle I could have given, I gave, but I got a bit of damage in front. But it's okay, nothing too bad.
So you are currently the tentative race winner unless the stewards deem otherwise.
Yeah,
So
sure.
congratulations again because it's you kept your head down and well done because you closed
Thank
the
you.
gap from 12 seconds to 7 seconds when after the pit stops we're done.
Yeah, it's probably I don't know how it happened. I just kept on doing consistent lap times, and that's worth it, I guess.
And now moving to Kapil Bharat who finished P3 after being overtaken by Sidhu. Kapil, what happened in the race in the end?
It was such a lovely race. I mean, the positioning was all wrong. So I was caught off guard by the car in front. It's a little different story when you've been in clear air the entire race. There's no car in front of you. The scenery is clean when you go and break into a particular corner, and then just the last lap, I'm trying to fight back, trying to force an error onto Sidhu and then probably get the position back. And in all that heat of the moment, in trying to position myself, I forget where I am, literally. And I lose judgment on whether it's this curve or the next curve that I need to break in. Luckily, get the sense of mind that, okay, fine, it's now or never to break and then not take out the car in front. So I had to take an evasive maneuver to, well, as you saw, flash out in spectacular fashion, but that had to be done to keep Sidhu safe.
So you had a Sebastian Vettel moment in the more famous words.
Not exactly. This was intentional. So
All right.
yeah, all in all, a
Quantum,
good race. Yep.
Anyways,
Quantum, do you have
congrats
anything
on the
else to ask?
victory. Not really. I would like to congratulate both him as well as Ghost on their victory. And Ghost, one more thing, we should probably get a lottery ticket today. Like
What
probably
happened?
that much luck. I mean, yeah, you should just go out and get one. And yeah, Kapil, like really feels bad for you. I mean, you could have got that P2, but yeah, Sidhu in my honesty is the driver of the day for today. Like if you guys had seen how he drove, yeah, he really deserved that P2. And yeah, kudos Kapil like for that fight. And honestly, like I thought that you would have lost your car after that thing, and it's good to hear that it was intentional and you didn't wreck your car. But yeah, Like safe race and everything apart. Congrats to all of you.
Thank you.
Good
Thank
game, well
you.
played. And now that ends our race for today, which was France, Paul Ricard. Not expecting a very good race, but wow, did this race deliver! Thank
Yeah.
you for watching. Thank you for staying tuned till the end. With that being said, myself, Washington and Nirmav, alongside Quantum and DJ, wish you a good night and a safe weekend.